Should you upgrade your Nintendo Switch to the new OLED model? Let's find out after the title. What's up, peeps? CJ3K here, and welcome back to Low on Cash. If you enjoy the content that I produce and like this review as well, please consider hitting like and subscribing to this channel to check out more of my future videos. So let's start out by talking what has not changed with the new OLED Switch. Battery life is still 4.5 to 9 hours, just like the 2019 revision that Nintendo put out. The new Switch still has the same NVIDIA Tegra processor as the revision as well, along with 4 gigs of RAM. It's still 720p in handheld mode and can go up to 1080p in docked mode. Unfortunately, no 4K in this model, as this is not the heavily rumored Pro model that was supposed to come out this year. The new OLED Switch also uses the same Joy-Cons as before, although the body of the Switch itself has been redesigned so there's less wiggle when the Joy-Cons are connected to the console itself. The new Switch is also a tad bit wider than before, so with that in mind, let's start talking about the differences in the new Switch and the old Switch. Now that the new OLED model is slightly wider, many accessories including grips and other things, cases and whatnot, no longer fit the new model. Although I do have a carrying case that will hold the dock and the Switch and controller stuff, that it still fits. It's a little snug, but it still works. Although some accessories might still work, so your mileage may vary. The new dock has also undergone some redesigns. It lost a USB port on the back, but gained an Ethernet port. Now, I never used an Ethernet adapter as I didn't really play any competitive games online with my Switch, but it's kind of a wash in my mind. The new OLED Switch now has double the storage as the old Switch outgoing, so now it's got 64 gigabytes instead of 32. While this is a welcome addition, I think most people are using memory cards to save their games on, since that gives you much more space. The build quality of the new OLED Switch is also, in my mind, a lot better. There is a kickstand, and now it extends across the entire back of the Switch itself. The new kickstand is a dream and works just like the Surface Pro kickstand. There are also little rubber bumpers on the bottom to help keep this console secure in tabletop mode. They've also moved the text underneath the kickstand, giving the back a cleaner look. The microSD card slot is there too, in case you're wondering. The exhaust vents and the game card slot has also been redesigned. The new vents are a lot thicker now, so they should hold up a lot better over time, as my original launch Switch had broken vents along the top. They also upgraded the speakers this year and redesigned where they output at. They are slightly louder, and I guess they're a little bit clearer, although it's not a really huge change. So it was kind of a, no big deal for me. They also slightly redesigned the power button and the volume buttons across the top. And even though the new power button is slightly more recessed and now oval in design, the buttons still feel just like they did in the old revision. Now, by far, the biggest upgrade is the display. It's larger now, taking up much more space on the front of the console. It's also, like I've mentioned, OLED, making colors pop more. Dark colors and blacks are also much darker now. It's just a huge upgrade in my opinion, and it even appears to be more brighter. I lack the equipment to actually test this out, but check this side by side and let me know what you think. The slight ghosting effect of the old LED is also minimized here on the new OLED screen. I honestly thought that the larger screen would make games look a little more pixelated since it is the same resolution, but I think the OLED technology has really minimized this effect as games appear sharper. I would say text might be slightly more soft, but games just look really, really great on this screen. So here's the real question. Should you buy the new Switch? I think if you have an OG Switch that's seen better days, whether that is the vents along the top have broken, it's cracked in different places, your battery life is not as good as it once was, it might be worth picking this one up. I think the big problem is if you never play in handheld mode, you're not really going to see any of the upgrades that they released with this revision, as most of it is really applied to the handheld mode. I think if you have a Switch Lite, this is going to be a huge upgrade for you. larger and better looking screen? Yes, please. I think the biggest issue is the fact that a Switch Lite is only $200 and this new Switch OLED model is $350. So if you already have a Switch Lite, but you're kind of wanting something bigger, maybe you want to play docked, it could be a really good purchase for you. Finally, I think if you don't already have a Switch, stop watching this video right now and go get one. The thing is great, especially if you plan on playing it in handheld mode, but it's a big upgrade in a lot of different ways too. All right, peeps, that about wraps it up. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.